Good evening, everybody, and I hope you guys are able to see me and hear me. So, am I audible and am I visible? Just confirm me that. Just confirm to me once, am I audible or am I visible? So, my friends, today we are all here to learn physics, to learn the basic concepts behind electrical and electronics engineering. So, up to now, what we have covered: Coulomb's law, electric field, dipole, electric lines of force, then electric flux. And the topic of this lecture is going to be Gauss law. So, I am going to teach you Gauss law from the very basic level. Okay, we are going to learn Gauss law from the very basic level so as to give you an understanding how Gauss law works and how it is applied. So you will be understanding it at a very basic level as compared to what you understand in engineering. Okay. Now, before starting the lecture, let me introduce you myself. So, my friends, my name is Ankit Goyal and I have got AIF 1 in GATE 2014 and 2018. And my friends, I am working as a director at Unacademy for GATE department, as well as I have been awarded President of India Gold Medal by the President himself in the year 2013 when I graduated from my college, that is IIT Indore. Now, my friends, we have started a revolution on Unacademy where we are providing the most affordable education to each and every student of this country. We are leveling the playing field. Now, even a student from a weak financial background can dream, can dare to dream, to be learning from the India's top educators, the India's best educators, and that has been made possible by Unacademy. Now, if you want to become a part of that revolution, you have to join Unacademy, but make sure that you use the code ANKITESC. This code will give you 10% discount, but at the same time, it directly brings you under my mentorship so that I can guide you throughout your journey and you can get the best rank in the GATE examination. So, my friend, you need to come to Unacademy because that is where the magic happens and that is where your actual learning begins, and you start to see how wonderful the platform is and how many facilities they are providing you under one subscription. Now, my friends, what are the benefits of joining Unacademy? You get to see the free live classes. You get to see the live classes in the morning, in the evening. You get to have DPP, daily practice paper. You get weekly quizzes every Sunday whose analysis is done every Monday. You get previous year question, test series, practice question, doubt solving, everything, my friend, under one subscription. And even if we launch new batches like crash course, rank improvement batches, all that is covered under just one subscription. My friend, I'll be starting electrical machines in rank improvement batch from 17th of August. So you can join Unacademy right away so that you can take the benefit of such free classes. Next thing that I would like to tell you is you need to download the Unacademy learning app, because every day at 1 p.m. I am taking a free class for signals and systems. So you need to attend that class. So download Unacademy learning app today and follow me so that you can attend my free classes. Now, my friend, we will be starting with the Gauss law. We will be starting with the Gauss law. Now, what is Gauss law? Gauss law is a method, an alternative method to finding the electric field as compared to Coulomb's law. That is, Coulomb's law is also used to find the electric field, but Gauss law is an alternative to Coulomb's law. Okay. So guys, it makes the method of finding the electric field much easier as compared to your Coulomb's law. Okay. Are you getting my point? देखो कूलाम्स लॉ से इलेक्ट्रिक फील्ड निकालना इतना आसान नहीं है, बिकॉज वी हैव टू इंटीग्रेट एंड देन फाइंड द इलेक्ट्रिक फील्ड फॉर कॉन्टिन्यूअस चार्ज डिस्ट्रीब्यूशन. बट व्हेन वी टॉक अबाउट गॉस लॉ, even by avoiding integration, you can find out the electric field of continuous charge distribution. And that is why, my friend, this law is so wonderful and this law is so helpful. So what does this law says? What does this law say? It says that integration of E dot ds now, what does each term represent? So, E represents your electric field. E represent your electric field. ds vector is the area vector that we use to find the flux. My friend, this circle on the integration represents that we are talking about a closed surface. I told you about the closed surface as well, that closed surfaces are those where the surface encloses a certain volume. जिस सरफेस के अंदर और बाहर का रीजन अलग अलग विजुलाइज कर पाओ, that there is something inside the surface and something outside the surface. That sort of a surface is called as a closed surface. Is that clear? Now Q enclosed means charge lying inside the surface. Charge lying inside the surface, and epsilon is simply the permittivity of the medium. Epsilon is simply the permittivity of the medium. Now, my friend, one thing that you need to understand is that this quantity itself is the flux or the electric flux. This is the electric flux. But an alternative form that we study in engineering, alternatively what we say, alternatively in engineering we study this law with the help of D, with the help of flux density instead of electric field, like this. D dot ds equal to Q enclosed. D dot ds equal to Q enclosed, because if you multiply this epsilon here, then this E will become D. If you multiply epsilon to the left hand side, this E will become D. So D dot ds equal to Q enclosed is equal to Q enclosed, my friend. Now, as I am telling you, the enclosed charge, that means enclosed inside a certain surface. Enclosed inside a surface. That surface, my friend, is known as the Gaussian surface. So now let us understand first of all, what is this Gaussian surface? Let me explain you what is this Gaussian surface. So my friend, Gaussian surface is an imaginary surface. It is an imaginary surface that passes through the point where electric field is to be determined. Okay, suppose you have a point P where you want to find out the electric field, then draw an imaginary surface that passes through that point P. So again I am telling, suppose there is a point P where you want to calculate the electric field. Then draw an imaginary surface passing through that point P where you want to find out the electric field. Where you want to find out the electric field. Is that clear? So the only thing that you need to understand is that Gaussian surface is not an actual surface. Gaussian surface is not an actual surface. This is the surface that we have assumed. That, my friend, we have assumed. It is not there, or you can't say something is kept there. Nothing is there. It is free space. It is a medium. But we are drawing a surface in that medium, and that imaginary surface is the Gaussian surface. Is that clear? So remember that this surface, my friend, is imaginary. Now if you see, my friend, inside this surface you will see certain charges like small q1, small q2, small qn, and outside the surface we have capital Q2, capital Q1, capital Qn. So when we are applying the Gauss law, we are talking about the charge enclosed. That means charge lying inside the sphere. जो sphere के अंदर charge आ रहा है, जो Gaussian surface के अंदर charge आ रहा है, and which charge is that? Which charge is that? That is small q1, small q2, small qn. So I'll write here as well. Charge enclosed means charge lying inside the Gaussian surface. Okay, that basically is your charge enclosed. Now you might say, sir, does the electric field only exist because of the charges that lie inside the surface? No, my friend, that is absolutely not true. So I'll give you a point that you need to remember for the rest of your life. What I am going to say, electric field exists due to charges both inside and outside, both inside and outside the Gaussian surface, both inside and outside the Gaussian surface, but flux only exists due to charges outside Gaussian surface, outside Gaussian surface. Okay, so that is the point, my friend, that the flux is only due to the charges, due to the charges inside the surface, due to the charges inside the surface. So the flux is only due to the charges inside the surface. But my friend, the electric field at any particular point is due to the charges inside as well as the charges outside. So if I show you here, suppose we have a point P. This point P will have the electric field due to Q1 like this. It will have the electric field due to Q2 like this. Suppose all are positive. It will have the electric field due to Qn like this. It will have the electric field due to this Q2 like this, due to capital Q1 like this. So all the charges will contribute to the electric field, but only the charges lying inside the surface contribute to the flux. Only the charges inside the surface contribute to the flux, but all the charges do contribute to the electric field. Do contribute to the electric field. Is this clear? Is this clear to everybody? Tell me in the chat section, is everybody clear about it or not? Is everybody clear? Okay. Now, my friend, watch this area. Watch this area. We have a small area on the sphere of radius r. Then we have another small area on the sphere of radius 2r. Now, when the radius is 2r, all the arc length are doubled. This arc length is doubled. Because what is arc length, my friend? What is arc length? Arc length is r into angle, radius into theta. So if you double the radius, your arc length will also be doubled. If you see here, the arc length will be doubled. Now if both dimension of this area become doubled, what does that mean? That means the area becomes 4 times. That is why it is written as 4dA. If this area is dA, this area will be 4dA. This area will be 4dA. Now my friend, so but if you carefully observe, the number of field lines passing are exactly the same. The number of field lines passing through dA and 4dA are exactly the same. What I mean to say, suppose there is a charge kept inside. Suppose there is a charge kept inside here. There is a charge. That charge is generating the electric field. Now these electric fields first pass through a sphere of radius r, then they pass through a sphere of radius 2r. Okay. That means the lines that are passing through the sphere of radius r and the lines that are passing through the sphere of radius 2r, they are equal in number. When they are equal in number, it means that the flux is same. The flux is same. So what I would like to write here is number of lines through dA and 4dA is same. Number of lines through dA and my friend 4dA is exactly same. That means the flux is same. So what you can say? Flux depends on charge inside surface. Flux depends on charge inside surface and not radius of surface. And not radius of surface. Okay. The flux only sees what is the charge that is placed inside the surface instead of seeing what is the size, what is the radius of the surface. It does not consider that. Is this point understood? Now Neelam is saying if external charges are absent, then electric field using Gauss law will come different or same. Neelam, electric field will come out to be same even if external charges are absent, but that does not mean that there is no electric field due to external charges. What you can say, the net electric field due to external charges is getting cancelled, but always remember this can be directly asked in exam as well, that Gauss law provides the electric field due to total charges and not just due to the external charges. Abhinandan is asking, if we have infinite cuboid, what should I take as the Gaussian surface? My friend, there are two things, Gaussian surface and charge. If you already have infinite cuboid, that means you already have that Gaussian surface. Why will you take another Gaussian surface? Are you getting my point? There are two things, charge and the surface. If you already have infinite cuboid, you already have surface, why will you consider anything else as the Gaussian surface? Now let's move to the next figure. Let's move to the next figure. Now the charge that is placed outside the surface, this charge, the field lines that enter from this charge into the surface are same as the number of field lines that are exiting. Okay, the field lines that are entering are same as the field lines exiting, which means that resultant flux will be zero. Resultant flux will be zero. What is resultant flux? What is resultant flux? It is number of field lines exiting the surface minus number of field lines entering the surface. Okay. So my friend, if the field lines are exiting, that is taken as positive. If the field lines are entering, that is taken as negative. So when I talk about the resultant flux, it means the field lines that are going out of the surface minus the field lines that are coming into the surface. So due to external charge, the flux will be zero. Due to external charge, the flux will always be zero. This figure represents the same thing, that the field lines that are entering the surface are same as the field lines exiting the surface. गजेंद्र डोंट वरी, जब हम लोग एप्लीकेशन ऑफ गॉस लॉ की बात करेंगे तब मैं आपको ये समझाऊंगा कि गॉसियन सरफेस क्या लिया जाता है. ठीक है, when we study about application of Gauss law, that will be in the next lecture. Now moving on. Now guys, if you see here we have taken a positive charge. Here my friend, we have taken a positive charge. All the field lines of this positive charge, they are going out of the surface. You very well know the field lines pattern that we have already studied in the previous unit, that when we talk about the field lines due to a positive charge, they are all radially outwards. That is what I have shown in the first figure. In the second, if you see, if it is a negative charge, then we already know that due to negative charge, the field lines are radially inwards. That is what we have shown. But we do know one thing, that when we talk about area vector points outside the surface. Area vector always points outside the surface. So in the first case, my friend, electric field is parallel to area vector. If both are parallel, their dot product is positive, flux is greater than zero. In the second case, electric field is opposite. To dA vector. That means E dot dA is negative, or you can say flux is negative. That is why I was telling, when the field lines are exiting a surface, then flux is taken to be positive. When field lines are entering a surface, the flux is taken to be negative. So remember the convention. Field lines leaving the surface, positive flux. Field lines coming into the surface, negative flux. Now, see this situation. Here we have one charge. Here we have one charge inside one of the surfaces. The electric field that it is producing, is also passing through the second surface. So suppose this is surface 1 and this one is your surface 2. So we have a charge inside the surface 1. This charge Q actually is the charge inside the surface 1, but it lies outside surface 2. It lies outside surface 2. For surface 1, my friend, if you see, all the lines are exiting the surface. सारी lines बाहर की तरफ जा रही हैं, ठीक है? All the lines are exiting the surface. That is why the flux will come out to be positive. Okay. What we say, all lines exit the surface. Which surface? Surface 1. That is why phi is greater than 0. But if you see, my friend, the second surface, in the second surface, the number of field lines entering is same as the number of field lines leaving. So the flux is 0. Number of lines entering is equal to number of lines leaving. Which surface? Surface 2. So its flux will be 0. Okay. That is why we say the flux is only due to the charge kept inside the surface and not due to the charge that is outside the surface. Always remember. Say with me again, electric field is due to both internal and external charges, but the flux is only due to the internal charges. This thing you need to keep in mind. My friend Gajendra, don't worry, my friend. The questions that you are asking, these are very generic questions that I anyways will tackle when I talk about the application. But right now what I am doing is, I am trying to make you visualize how these electric lines of force or electric field lines contribute to electric flux and how that constitutes Gauss law. Okay, so we are trying to visualize the Gauss law, and when we will apply this in practical situations, then whatever questions you have in your mind, they'll automatically get cleared. Okay, but patience, my friend, patience is very, very necessary, because without patience you can't gain any knowledge. Now, the next thing is that what I have shown is that for a point charge, we take a spherical Gaussian surface. Always remember, for a point charge, spherical Gaussian surface is considered. Now, the question that you guys were asking me, sir, how to choose the Gaussian surface? So my friend, we choose the Gaussian surface based on our prior knowledge of electric field. That is, I already know how the electric lines of force, will look like. Once I know that, I make sure that the Gaussian surface that I am taking, area vector must either be parallel to the electric field or anti-parallel to the electric field. That means the area vector should either have 0 degree with the electric field or 180 degree with the electric field. Now with a point charge, you already know that the electric field is radially outwards. So we need a surface whose area vector is also outwards. That is why, my friends, we have taken spherical surface. Because if you see, the area vector and this E are parallel. Again area vector and E are parallel. Again area vector and E are parallel. Again area vector and E are parallel. So that is the basic philosophy that goes behind choosing the Gaussian surface, that you need to have a prior knowledge of the pattern of electric field lines, then choose a surface that is perpendicular to the field line, or choose a surface whose area vector is parallel to the field line. Let me explain. dA vector is perpendicular to area. Now I am saying choose surface such that dA vector, or you can say, अंडरस्टूड माई पॉइंट. मैंने क्या बोला, ऐसा सरफेस चूज करो जिसका एरिया वेक्टर इलेक्ट्रिक फील्ड की डायरेक्शन में हो. एरिया वेक्टर इलेक्ट्रिक फील्ड की डायरेक्शन में होने का मतलब एरिया इलेक्ट्रिक फील्ड से परपेंडिकुलर होना. एरिया परपेंडिकुलर टू योर इलेक्ट्रिक फील्ड. दैट इज व्हाट वी मीन बाय सेइंग दैट इलेक्ट्रिक फील्ड शुड बी पैरेलल टू एरिया वेक्टर और परपेंडिकुलर टू द एरिया. So that is how we choose the Gaussian surface. Similarly, for the negative charge again, we have taken a spherical Gaussian surface, because in this case, the electric field is anti-parallel to the area vector. Electric field is anti-parallel to the area vector. Again, I have chosen a Gaussian surface where you can say that both will lie in opposite direction. Is that clear? Is that clear to everybody? Tell me. Now is it clear how do we choose the Gaussian surface? First draw the electric field lines, then take a surface perpendicular to those field lines. Now let me explain to you the application, one application of Gauss law. What is one application of Gauss law that you need to remember? Suppose there is no charge inside this cavity. This is a cavity. What I mean to say is that this is a conducting body. This one is a conducting body. Now, if there is no charge, then no charges are induced. There is a cavity inside the conducting body. There is a cavity inside the conducting body. If two or more charges are present, should we construct separate surfaces for each of them? Navneeta, we construct only one surface. Why? We need to construct a surface which passes through that point where you need to determine the electric field. We need to construct a surface that passes through a point where you wish to find the electric field. Okay. If you construct separate surfaces, then you get separate electric field. Then at the end, you will have to add those electric fields as vector and then find the resultant. Then Gauss law was not of any help, because that is what we do in Coulomb's law also. We find individual electric field. Then by superposition we add them. But in Gauss law, the benefit will be when we have a single surface, and due to multiple charges also, we are able to find the electric field in a single calculation. Then we can say that it is helpful. Now, take the second case. We have a Q charge inside the cavity. Now this Q charge will produce a negative charge induced on this surface. It will induce a negative charge. Now this body was neutral. So if we get minus q charge here, then to maintain charge neutrality, plus q charge comes outside. Plus q charge comes outside. Okay. Because if the body has net charge 0, you know that the charge can neither be created nor be destroyed. So if minus q charge is being induced, plus q will come outside the surface. Plus q will come outside the surface. Now you guys will be asking me, sir, why are you saying like this? How can this happen? How can this happen? So my friend, let me show you. Let me show you. If you take a Gaussian surface, then what we know is electric field. This is a conducting material. Electric field inside a conductor is always 0. Why electric field is always 0 inside a conductor? Because its permittivity is infinite. The permittivity of a perfect conductor is infinite. The electric field is 0. If the electric field is 0, what you can say? The flux that you were writing like this, if electric field itself is 0, this flux will be 0, which means the charge enclosed will also be 0. The charge enclosed will also be 0. So what happens? If you have a q charge here, then to make the charge enclosed 0, minus q is coming here. Minus q is coming here. Getting my point? हमें नेट चार्ज एनक्लोज 0 करना पड़ेगा मेरे भाई. क्यों 0 करना पड़ेगा? क्योंकि इलेक्ट्रिक फील्ड 0 होनी चाहिए कंडक्टर के अंदर. इलेक्ट्रिक फील्ड 0 का मतलब फ्लक्स 0. फ्लक्स 0 का मतलब चार्ज एनक्लोज 0. चार्ज एनक्लोज 0 कैसे होगा? अगर एक Q और एक माइनस Q चार्ज दोनों रखे हैं तो चार्ज एनक्लोज बनेगा 0. यानी यहां दो कंडीशन यूज करनी है. वी हैव टू यूज टू कंडीशन. One is the electric field inside the conductor is 0. Second is the neutrality of this conducting medium, due to which the negative and the positive charges are cancelling each other. Its net charge is 0. Its net charge is 0. Now take this case. Take this case. We have a Q charge inside and plus Q charge exists on conductor already. Okay. Plus Q charge already exists on the conductor. Plus Q charge already exists on the conductor. Now due to this Q charge, what charge will be induced? Will be minus Q. Why it gets induced? It gets induced to make electric field inside a conductor equal to 0. Electric field inside a conductor equal to 0. Now by charge conservation, the net charge initially on the conductor was Q. Now the final charge must be Q. That should be Q outside minus Q, which means Q outside. Getting this point? The charge on the conducting medium, should be same. Because charge can neither be created nor be destroyed. Initially it was Q. I told you already. Initially it was Q. Finally it should also remain Q. So Q naught is the charge outside. Minus Q is because of this. So the charge outside is capital Q plus small q. Going to the next situation, going to the next scenario, again minus q charge, again plus q charge, minus q induced, q plus q. So what we have done only is we have changed the shape. So change of shape does not impact, does not impact. Okay, no matter what is the shape of the surface, Gauss law will always be applied in a similar manner, or the form of the Gauss law will always be same irrespective of the shape of the surface. So guys, that was the basic of the Gauss law. Now what we will do is, we will see some basic problem to consolidate your concept about the Gauss law. Let us see some problem. See the first problem, my friend. See the first problem. Try this. S1 and S2 are two hollow concentric spheres enclosing charges capital Q and 2Q. What is the ratio of electric flux through S1 and S2? How will the electric flux through S1 change if a medium of dielectric constant 5 is introduced in the space inside S1 instead of air? Try this. Try this, my friend. I want to get the answer from each and every one of you. Okay, I want answers. So these are two hollow concentric spheres. These are two hollow concentric spheres enclosing charges Q and 2Q. Hollow concentric spheres. Try this, guys. Try this. Tell me the answer. Ratio of electric flux through S1 and S2. Through S1 and S2. Tell me, everybody. So let me solve this. In the first part, if you see, charge enclosed inside S1 is Q. Charge enclosed inside S2 is actually 3Q. Okay, is actually 3Q. Now, this comes out as 1 by 3. This comes out as 1 by 3. Okay. So that is a correct answer by Navneeta. That is the correct answer by Navneeta. Now, what is the next question? How will the electric flux through the sphere S1 change if the medium of dielectric constant 5 is introduced inside S1 in place of air? Tell me, how will it change? If we go by the physics definition, then the flux is charge enclosed by epsilon. Charge enclosed by epsilon. Now, if epsilon becomes, so phi E becomes 1/5 of original value. Correct? Correct? If you change the medium, the electric flux will become 1/5 of the original value. Is that clear to everybody? Try the next one, guys. Try the next one. Again, a good question. Again, a very good question. A cube of side L has one corner at origin and it extends along the positive x, y and z axis. Suppose the electric field is A plus By j cap. Determine the charge inside the cube. Quickly try this, guys. Determine the charge inside the cube. Let me see how many people can solve it. Just first try and draw the diagram so that you can visualize. So that you can visualize the problem. Try and draw the diagram, my friend. So if I give you the diagram, how this cube is, Okay, my friends. This is suppose x, y, and z. Okay. So one end of a cube is at origin. Let me draw a cube. This will be our cube. Now, my friend, the electric field is A plus By j cap. That means the electric field exists in this direction. Now, when we want to find out the charge inside the surface, immediately it should strike your mind that we need to apply the Gauss law. Immediately it should strike that we need to apply the Gauss law. Now when you want to apply the Gauss law, then you need to find the flux through the surface. Okay. Aman, your answer is no. I don't know. Now, let me take the surfaces 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Now, if we draw the area vector, of each surface, see this area vector, this, these are the 6 area vectors. Now, since the electric field is only existing in j cap, I need to consider only the surfaces that have area vector in j cap. Because if area vector is in I cap or k cap, the dot product with j cap will be 0. If area vector is in I cap or k cap, the dot product will be 0. So my friend, you just need to consider the area which lies in the j cap direction. That means my focus will be on surface 1 and surface 6. Now, what is the electric field at surface 1? Here, y is actually equal to L. So, it is A plus BL j cap. Electric field 2, when y is 0, it is AJ cap. Now, my friend, if you calculate the flux through the surface 1, if you see, the red is the electric field, the green is the area vector. The electric field and the area vector are lying in the same direction. So, that means it will be A plus BL into area. What about phi 2? Sorry, not phi 2. Actually, phi 6. If you see here, the red electric field and the green area vector, are lying opposite to each other. If they are lying opposite to each other, their dot product will be negative. You will get minus AL square. Now, if you calculate the net flux, A plus BL, that is BL cube. Now, if this is BL cube, it will be charge enclosed by epsilon. That means the charge enclosed is BL cube into epsilon. BL cube into epsilon. So my friend, that will be the charge enclosed inside the surface. Abhishek, you have missed out epsilon in this. Okay, epsilon will also come. Now guys, this will be all from today's lecture, but we'll meet again on Monday, and then I'll discuss with you the applications of the Gauss law. The application part we will discuss. Now my friend, tomorrow we are going to bring something very good for the foundation batch students. Something very great will be launched tomorrow. So be here on this channel at 2:30 p.m. tomorrow. 2:30 p.m. tomorrow. Okay. And the other thing is that, my friend, if you want to join Unacademy, just download the Unacademy learning app, because every day at 1 p.m. I am teaching signals and system live free of cost. So you can download Unacademy learning app, and if you want to join Unacademy, click on GATE and DSE, click on get subscription. Then this plan, 1 year plan, is for those who are in the final year or the droppers. 2-year plan is for those who are still in the second or the third year. But do remember the code Ankit ESE. This code gives you 10% discount and my mentorship. Okay. So guys, you can make payment by credit, debit card, EMI, net banking, and you can also pay by HDFC debit card EMI or Bajaj Finserv debit card EMI. But make sure you use the code Ankit ESE. And tomorrow at 2:30, something is going to be launched. Something is going to be launched for foundation batch. And these are some of my videos, my friends, that have done really well on this channel, and they'll really guide you. How can you prepare for the GATE examination? The next thing, these are the other channels that we have. These are the other channels that we have for mechanical, civil, computer science. Then we have one channel for SSC, electrical, mechanical, civil. This channel is for previous year question, where we will upload the video solution of every previous year question, electrical, mechanical, civil, EC, computer science. And this is my Telegram channel, where immediately after this lecture, I'll be uploading this PDF. And this is my Unacademy profile, where if you follow me, you can watch all my free classes. I have already taught MOSFET, 3-phase circuit, network AC analysis. Now I am taking questions on the signal. This much free content is available if you follow this profile. If you follow this profile, and you can take the benefit of all the free videos. Okay guys, so that will be all from my side. Tomorrow Vishal sir will continue maths. Thank you everybody.